It's election night in Arizona. The votes have been cast, the polls are closed, and the results are coming in.
Who will be the next governor? Heated propositions at stake, and the balance of power in Washington, D.C. Fox 10 has all of the races covered. Tonight, you decide. And good evening. You are looking at Arizona's new governor. We have a winner tonight. Republican Doug Ducey has been called as Arizona's next governor.
And it wasn't even close. Declared the winner about 30 minutes ago, and the numbers were overwhelming. It's a double-digit lead for Doug Ducey. He wins. Right now, he's ahead by 13 percentage points over Fred DuVal. He's been declared the winner, and so far tonight is shaping up to be, as we've seen nationwide, a good night for Republicans in the state of Arizona. They are leading in every key race, although the margin in the superintendent of public instruction is close. We'll get to that in a moment as we look at the state races.
Yes, so from opening an ice cream shop to running our state, Doug Ducey has had a pretty bright future all of his years here in Arizona. And tonight we have not had his victory speech, but he has been declared the winner. And of course, we've got some of the other top races that are out there as well.
Let's take a look at this. This is a bit of a surprise because of Terry Goddard's pedigree, the time he spent running for governor, 3 times attempting to run and take the governor's job. He never got through the threshold. Tonight he is losing to Michelle Reagan. Mark Brnovich beating Felicia Rodolini right now in the Attorney General's race.
And this one is still very close. Take a look. Arizona State Superintendent of Public Instruction. And this is a tight one, but surprisingly, a lot of people had thought David Garcia, very bright resume, and Diane Douglas, the Republican, is winning tonight.
And she really ran against beating back Common Core. Let's look at the House races. We've got 3 congressional districts that are considered battlegrounds. One of them is District 1, Northern Arizona, Eastern Arizona, all the way to Tucson. And Kirkpatrick right now beating back the former House Speaker, Andy Tobin, but it's close, 2 percentage points.
Now, this is down in the Tucson area. This is Gabby Gifford's old district. Ron Barber is doing pretty well right now, again, early, with 0% of the precincts voting, or reporting rather, and he is winning right now.
Raul Grijalva is cruising right now, should have no problem as he's been in that seat for over 10 years now. Raul Grijalva beating Gabby Mercer by a pretty sizable margin right now in District 3.
And on to District 4, Paul Gosar has been declared the winner, the incumbent, Republican incumbent Paul Gosar, with a huge victory tonight in his district.
Let's take a look at a couple of the other districts we're looking at, and some of these aren't even close. Matt Salmon, of course, he's back in the fray after serving time in Congress. Part of that freshman class of '94, swept in the Republican Revolution, left after 3 terms. He's back in now, his second term, easily cruising to victory. David Schweikert winning tonight easily over John Williamson. And for some of these guys, they've really ascended to God. Nobody's going to beat them. They are in safe districts. That goes for Ruben Gallego, who replaces Ed Pastor.
He's going to be our freshman congressman representing downtown Phoenix. And he had his fight, of course, in the primary. That's where it was a difficult fight for him, but he cruised to victory in the general tonight. Trent Franks, the Republican, beating very easily a write-in candidate tonight. Trent Franks, the incumbent in District 6.
This, not even interesting so far. Again, Kyrsten Sinema, the one Democrat who has found and carved out a middle-of-the-road niche. She was once the progressive great hope. She's really moderated and figured out a way to carve her niche in that District 9.
And Troy Hayden is down at the Republican headquarters at the Hyatt Regency tonight. Troy, they've got to be thrilled tonight.
Hey, this is a happy room tonight, Carrie. I'm telling you, when they announced that Doug Ducey won, this place erupted. I got some young Republicans here. How happy were you to hear that Doug Ducey won? What'd you do when you heard? This place is packed. Senator John McCain just talked a short while ago. Over here, I have a man who backed up Doug Ducey from early on in the primary, Sheriff Joe Arpaio. So you picked Doug Ducey early, and he won for you tonight.
Yeah, he won for the people.
Right.
He didn't win for me, but he's a great guy, has great character. That's very important, and he'll be a good governor.
A lot of things going your way, Republican-wise tonight. The Senate looking good across the country. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's good, but I'm concerned about 2 years from now. That's the big one.
The presidency you're talking about.
Yep, and this is a precursor, I hope, to victory in 2016.
Great. Sheriff Joe Park, great seeing you. Ava, great seeing you as well. Come on over here. I want to show you one thing really quick as we go back. You talk about social media and the impact here. Come on over here. If you look right here, come on over here, Rick. This represents tweets about Doug Ducey, correct? Tell us what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so the mentions in here that you see are showing the moment that Doug Ducey was elected. All of that is from the mentions there. This is Fred DuVal's feed over here.
Okay, so this was before the victory, and then right here is right when he bigger spots are for people with more followers, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So the larger the bubble, the more followers they have. If it's green, it means positive. If it's blue, it means it's neutral. And then red is negative.
So a lot of people talking about this. Thank you very much. Technology playing a big role. Linda Williams now over at Democratic headquarters. Fred DuVal, his people can't be as happy, Linda.
They really aren't. We were just told by his people that Fred DuVal is on his way down to the ballroom to address some very disappointed followers and volunteers. You know, he said yesterday, constantly over and over again, I'm in this fight to win it. I'm not listening to the polls. I'm not listening to people talking about the Obama effect. I'm going to go out. I'm going to play my game hard, and hopefully that will be enough. And it was not enough, unfortunately. Some people here disappointed. Honestly, a lot of them were expecting it because of when those early ballot numbers came out yesterday. They knew that they woke up this morning in a pretty steep hole, and they knew that they would have to have an incredible turnout in order to climb out of that hole and end up victorious tonight over a very well-run, well-funded Doug Ducey campaign. So we are waiting to hear from Fred DuVal. It's interesting, we just heard from Gallegos, Ruben Gallegos. He, of course, taking his Congressional District seat number 7 unopposed. Well, because he got to sit out this round, he loaned a lot of his people, especially young ones, to the DuVal campaign, and they canvassed door to door in several Phoenix neighborhoods trying to get the vote out, trying to get him over what they knew was a very steep hill. I have been talking to a Democratic consultant who worked with a successful Gallegos campaign, and what he told me is that considering how much money, Republicans, dark money, was poured into Arizona this time, it is not a catastrophic night for the Dems. He believes that there will still be good stories for congressional districts 1, 9, and 2 tonight. And he said considering how much dark money went against those 3 congressional districts, he said the Democrats can be proud. Not thrilled. They certainly need to go back to the drawing board and look at their messaging and look at their organization. So we will bring you back here out live when Fred DuVal gets up for what we assume will be a concession speech. I'm Linda Williams, Fox 10 News.
There's a couple things at play that are interesting. It is not a presidential election. That's tough to get turnout for Democrats. Number 2, the odd thing is that many Democrats felt, and even Republicans would tell you, they felt that this was the strongest Democrat field that they've had in 20 years. And so far, no Democrats winning. I'm talking about statewide races, not congressional
Andrew
races.
Hasbin is out with the Republicans tonight. There's no denying Doug Ducey ran an amazing campaign from the primaries all the way through the general. Even if you don't like the guy and didn't vote for him, he ran it was a well-run campaign.
I don't think there's any denying that, Carrie, and we spoke to Doug Ducey today. He told us he was very proud of the campaign that he ran, his campaign. He also touched on some of the outside expenditures that came in from those groups that are referred to as super PACs. They spent something like $8 million supporting Doug Ducey and attacking his opponent. That's far more than any of the groups that were supporting Fred DuVal. So that goes to show you how much money was involved in this race. Doug Ducey told me this afternoon that he was both anxious and excited to see the results tonight. He voted this afternoon with his family. We spoke to him then, and he talked a little bit about the race.
We've got a message that says, I want to be governor of all the people. We focused on issues that unify people, like the economy, like K-12 education. Good jobs aren't a partisan issue. Kids learning in the classroom isn't a partisan issue. I know we'll be able to bring people together regardless of the outcome, and I'm looking forward to it.
One of Doug Ducey's supporters during the general election is Governor Jan Brewer. She was here earlier tonight. She had some advice for Doug Ducey after this very contentious campaign. She told him, you know, you're going to have a lot of work to do once you start taking over as governor. Here's Jan Brewer.
think Doug and I have always had a good relationship all along, when he was treasurer, before he was treasurer. I think that it will continue to be on a very great level. I consider him a good friend, and I support him 100%. I couldn't be more delighted with his big win that we're going to see tonight.
What advice do you have for him tonight?
Well, that he needs to think out of the box and make a plan, get himself aligned with good staff, that they can get the job done and be innovative and embrace people. And I think that he's done that in the campaign, and that's what he needs to do as governor, and not back down once he's made his decision.
So we know Doug Ducey was watching the returns with his family tonight. He is expected to come down here to Republican headquarters to deliver his victory speech in about an hour or so. Reporting live at Republican headquarters in downtown Phoenix, I'm Andrew Hasbun, Fox 10 News.
Andrew just talking to Jan Brewer, very popular governor, and we've had 3 female governors. Our first male governor will be elected tonight.
Let's go to Mark Martinez. He's with the DuVal folks down at the Renaissance in downtown. Mark, tough night for Fred DuVal, and this is a guy who's been in the political arena since Bruce Babbitt going back to the late 70s here.
That's right, and also worked in the Clinton administration. He told me today that he felt very optimistic about his chances despite the polling, and that he felt that the voters would turn out. He told me that election day, so he felt that indeed he still had a good chance despite the polling. Now, we are in the lobby leading into the ballroom where we are expecting Fred DuVal any moment now to come out and to go up on stage, and we believe to give his concession speech to the crowd that is assembled here at the Renaissance Hotel. We caught up with him as he arrived here tonight to meet with his supporters. Again, he seemed very upbeat about his chances, but as we saw earlier tonight, it was called for Doug Ducey pretty early on as the new governor for Arizona. So again, we are expecting Fred DuVal to come out any second now and to give that concession speech. He was fighting against a lot of that dark money, out-of-state donors who pumped about $8 million into his ad campaigns, a lot of negative campaigns, calling him a lobbyist essentially for the work he did after he left government. And that is what he said it was the biggest challenge of this race. He said as far as getting Arizona out of our budget hole, that that was his main priority. Here he comes right now. Let's try to get him as he comes out of the elevator here.
Take a step back, please. Take a step back, please. Couple more.
Here comes Fred DuVal right now. Excuse me, sir.
Couple more steps.
Here he comes out of the elevator. Fred, can we talk to you about tonight? Fred, this didn't go the way you wanted to. Okay, Fred is not taking any questions right now as he walks back behind the stage. They are blocking us from following. We're going to try to go as far as we can to see what he has to say here tonight. We've got a podium set up that he is going to be speaking on right now, and I believe we will hear his concession speech. They're getting ready to do that right now. Back to you guys. We'll listen in.
Well, I can't help but think at 9:13 in the evening on election night, it's over. I mean, this has been months of this, and for Fred DuVal, you wonder how much it may have hurt him not having an opponent in the primary, because we simply didn't get to know the guy very well. He's been around, the politicos know him, but the public didn't really get to know this guy except that he'd been painted as a lobbyist, which is an awful word in politics, and it's stuck. So for Fred DuVal, it's a tough night. I mean, it's over so quickly after all that time.
And you kind of wonder if he saw what was coming at him. I mean, the minute Doug Ducey won the primary, he got the ads out defining his opponent, and he defined him, as you said, as a lobbyist, as somebody who raised tuition. And we never saw DuVal come out and really push against that and say, no, that's not who I am. And here's what I can do.
It's not in his DNA. He's a very, very nice, genteel man. And that, to get into the rough and tumble of politics and that part of it, the ugly part of it, that's not an easy reach for him. He's not a guy who likes to go there.
And back during the Babbitt days and the Clinton days, I think it was a little nicer back then. Now it's gotten a lot more aggressive out there in some of the politicking going on.
Well, he's smiling, and he will. He was a head of protocol in the White House, so he knows how to handle moments like this with grace and dignity. You'll see it. He will not cast aspersions. He will handle it with class. He's a gentleman. He's with his wife, Jennifer, tonight.
Fred DuVal.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for that warm welcome. It's So good to see so many friends and faces, supporters. I know how hard you've been working, and I want to begin tonight by thanking the real rock star in this campaign, Jennifer, who was just sensational. I want to thank our families, both DuVal and Hecker. I want to thank my fantastic staff for a brilliant and dedicated effort. Yeah. I want to thank all of you that are here in this room and those of you around the state of Arizona for your work and support. And I want to thank the citizens of Arizona for this opportunity that I've had to be with you and to express my aspirations for a state that I love. I want to thank you for your commitment to moving Arizona forward. Now, while the margin that you now see will shrink, it will fall short. So I have called Doug Ducey to congratulate him and wish him well. I hope he will be a governor for all of Arizona. And I would like to call and congratulate the other big winners of tonight's race, but frankly, a lot of the big winners are undisclosed, unknown, and out of state. But I just want you all to know I have been deeply touched by and grateful for this unprecedented campaign. We had over 8,000 donors, over 10,000 volunteers. We raised over $4 million. All of these are unprecedented. We framed the right agenda for Arizona based upon our kids, their education, and their future. We pressed for inclusion so that everyone can seek equal rights and opportunities. And we focused on protecting women's rights. I believe we can be confident that this campaign moved Arizona forward, and I have been moved by the opportunity and the experience. I am proud of this campaign. Thank you. Former Senator Adlai Stevenson once said, "The challenge in politics is to win without proving yourself unworthy of winning." And we lived and campaigned by that standard. We may have lost tonight's campaign. We did not lose our integrity. A registration disadvantage and clearly a bad national environment were hard enough to overcome. But we were also reminded that unlimited money is a powerful thing in politics, and it's not a healthy thing. The healthy thing in politics is our shared belief that the cures for the ills of democracy is more democracy, that people's needs and voices, the clarion call of our voiceless children must prevail. And together, we will build a future worthy of this fantastic and extraordinary state. This vision may be postponed, but it will not be stopped. We can be disappointed, but in the end, we will not be defeated because a new day is just ahead of us. I thank you and I honor you each for the dedication you have to this campaign and to the future of Arizona. Thank you very much.
Well, he did it with dignity. He took a shot at dark money. That was a little saucier than I thought it would be for Fred DuVal.
It's tough, though. I mean, he's like you said, he didn't have an opponent in the primary, so we really didn't get to know him until the ads came out, and they were attack ads.
And a compressed schedule to get to the general after the primary. I mean, there's only about a month and a half, really, to get the ball rolling. By the way, when you think about it, Arizona has had so much drama in the governor's office. We have not had a governor begin or end a term in a normal circumstance since 1975 and Governor Jack Williams. We have had so much weird churn and people out of office and taken out of office and resigning to leave for other jobs, Janet Napolitano most recently. So we have seen a lot of churn. It'll be interesting to see if Doug Ducey can remain in that office.
And that's why the
problem.
Secretary of State's office has been so important, because
Vitally
so
important.
many of our Secretary of States have ascended into the governor's office, and that's why that's an important, very important statewide election as well tonight. So let's take a look at some of the propositions. We've talked about some of the propositions that people are voting on, from one in Phoenix to statewide propositions. And let's take you to the Phoenix Pension Fund. This one, right now, the no votes, it looks like this is going down by about a 10-point margin. This is the underfunded pensions, $1.5 billion in underfunded pensions. Would it move our pension system in the city of Phoenix to a 401k system? And it looks like that may go down in defeat tonight.
Now let's look at 480. This is Maricopa County. This is one of the largest bond proposals in Arizona history, $1.4 billion. And people say yes, they want a new hospital. They want better health care, particularly for the poor, and this is how they would pay for it.
122, it looks like this one is winning right now, with more than half of the precincts reporting. This would allow the state to deem unconstitutional any federal law that state didn't like.
Right.
That one appears to be winning right now.
Prop 303, easy win tonight. Really a huge margin, a 4-to-1 margin, to let people take experimental drugs if they are trying with a Hail Mary to save their life.
Boy, and look at this one, has gone down in defeat. Will our state lawmakers get a pay raise? No. Arizona voters overwhelmingly saying no. And right now, if we go to the stage down at Doug Ducey's family has taken the stage.
Yeah,
his
Matt
wife.
Salmon's out there right now speaking. Let's just listen in for a moment. Matt Salmon winning easily, by the way, tonight in his district.
It's going to be great to have Doug Ducey as governor. And it's going to be great to finally be able to stick stuff on Obama's desk and make him put up or shut up. I think it's a great night for Republicans. And while the president wasn't on the ballot, his policies sure were. And I think that we sent a clear message to America tonight that the conservative way of thinking is where America wants to be. We want lower taxes. We want to cut spending in Washington, D.C. and get the power back to the states. And we want to be back to personal responsibility. And I think that we're well on our way to getting, I think, a really, really good government back again. Look, I'm cynical about government. I mistrust it like most of you do. But if Republicans are going to win in 2016, we have got to show Obama what we're made of.
All right, Matt Salmon, by the way, this is a guy who, again, was elected in '94, served 3 terms, honored his term limit pledge, and walked away from Congress after 3 terms. Then, as you know, ran for governor and lost to Janet Napolitano. But he's back, and now swept in again out of 5th Congressional District, which is really Gilbert, Queen Creek, Southern Eastern Chandler, and Eastern Mesa. So Matt Salmon, very popular in a safe district.
As we're watching Matt Salmon prepare for Doug Ducey's victory speech, he's kind of getting the crowd riled up a little bit. We're seeing some of those numbers, and we're seeing Kirsten Sinema's lead growing a bit.
Right.
Early in the night, it was a lot tighter. We're seeing some of these leads growing a little bit, where what we thought were going to be actually bigger leads. But
in the Attorney General's race, this is one that everybody watched and thought would be close. Nicole Garcia is on the Brnovich campaign. She's downtown at the Hyatt tonight with Republicans. And again, Mark Brnovich right now with a lead over Felicia Rodolini, who you know ran against Tom Horn 4 years ago and lost. This time, Horn's out of the picture. He loses to Brnovich in the primary, and Brnovich may cruise to victory tonight. Nicole.
Yeah, that's right. Republican leaders here are saying it is a wonderful night for Republicans, and it's looking that way for Mark Brnovich. At last check, he was about 50,000 votes ahead of Democrat Felicia Rodolini, with the early returns coming in. Now, until recently, Brnovich was relatively unknown. Nobody really knew his name until July of this year, when Governor Brewer threw her endorsement behind Brnovich over incumbent Tom Horn. He went on to beat Tom Horn in the Republican primary in August, and he's hoping to carry that momentum on to tonight. Now, Brnovich, this is the first time he's run for political office. For the most part, he's been watching the returns in a suite upstairs with his family, kind of away from the crowd. I did catch up with him earlier tonight to talk about what he's feeling, how he's handling this election, and he said the one thing that surprised him most about running for office is how hard it was. He said it was extremely extremely hard for him to be away from his family, to spend so much time campaigning and be away from his family. But tonight he is hoping that all that hard work is going to pay off. Again, early results show him with a very comfortable lead over Felicia Rodolini. He is expected to speak tonight, and we are expecting him to speak tonight, and hopefully he is hoping to give a victory speech. I'm Nicole Garcia, Fox 10
I think
News.
the numbers will eventually work out. I think things are going very, very well, and just wanted to be up here with my family and friends, so things are going very well, so we're very excited.
Well, when you and I first met back in July, you were relatively unknown. When we first met, we were talking about Governor Brewer endorsing you over Tom Horn. You beat him in the primary, and you're hoping to ride that momentum. Talk about the ride it's been. It's just been a few months.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I'm so blessed to have the support of so many great folks, and as I said, this is my friends and family, and these are the people that have been here with me since day one. And I grew up here in Arizona, and I know that Arizonans want an attorney general that shares their values and wants to work hard every day to protect our families, and that's what I want to do. And it's very humbling, and it's just, I'm so blessed and fortunate. So. And
you're new to this whole game. You've never run for office before. This is your first election. You've got to be nervous right now.
I'm not really nervous. I don't know if I've ever run again, but I kind of feel like a kid at Christmas where I'm just dying to open the presents, and I'm just hoping it's a skateboard and not another pair of socks, you know?
No nerves for Mark Brnovich tonight. He's hoping to come down here and give a victory speech. We'll keep on it. I'm Nicole Garcia, Fox 10 News.
I got to give that guy credit. He ran against Tom Horn. Tom Horn despised by many Republicans, and he gave Republicans someone to vote for because they didn't want to have to vote for a Democrat. A lot of Republicans didn't want that. And tonight it looks like that paid off. That kind of gamble for him paid off.
We're going to take our first break here on election coverage, and we're going to leave you with the state races. Remember, the state Senate in Arizona is in the balance tonight. Republicans have held it, along with the House, for many, many years, but the Senate could possibly go to the Democrats tonight. We'll keep an eye on it. Among other things, take a look at the numbers. We're back in a minute. Welcome back, You Decide. Let's go right to the District 9. This is the newest congressional district in Arizona. Kyrsten Sinema has been the incumbent there since the district was created, winning 2 years ago, and she's cruising right now tonight over former Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Wendy Rogers.
I am surprised, though, Rogers, how, you didn't see her do any of the debates. She backed out of the debates, that she has a number this big, considering she did not do a lot out and about publicly.
Well, Jill Monier is live. She is with the Sinema camp at downtown Phoenix in the Renaissance downtown. Jill, what's the story there?
Hey guys, well, we just heard a lot of cheering coming after someone at the podium announced the numbers for Sinema, who's now about 13,000 votes ahead of Rogers. Sinema had a private party at the Palomar, close to the media. It's just down the street here from the Renaissance. But we're told that she is expected to be here at the Renaissance between about 9:30. I'm told maybe closer to 10 o'clock tonight. Of course, she's about 13,000 votes, I said, ahead of Wendy Rogers right now in that race. We caught up with her earlier in the day saying that she was feeling pretty good about it today. She did tell one voter that she felt it was going to be a close election, that it's been a tough year. Now, Ann Kirkpatrick in a fight with Andy Tobin right now. There's only about 3,000 votes that separate those two. She has been at the Navajo Nation all day. She was born and raised on the Fort Apache Reservation, so that's where she calls home. Of course, we've heard this a toss-up that she's been called a vulnerable candidate there, being a Democrat in a district that leans Republican. She intends to watch the results in Flagstaff this evening. We've been seeing Twitter pictures from her meeting with constituents in that area this evening. And again, it's been interesting because their Twitter accounts have been pretty active throughout the night, but once the polls closed, they got pretty quiet. We haven't heard from Sinema's camp in about an hour, and we haven't heard from anyone from the District 1 race in about 3 hours. Guys, so we're just waiting here at the Renaissance for the Sinema camp, hopefully to make an appearance pretty shortly.
All right, thank you, Jill. Well, the Republican that Sinema is running against, obviously, is far behind, but actually, Wendy Rogers has not come out to speak yet, and we have not seen her much, but Ty Brennan has been covering that district. He's been covering District 1 and 9. Have you seen Wendy Rogers out there?
No, we've been looking. We have not seen Wendy Rogers here at the GOP headquarters this evening, but we are expecting to her. I did speak to her media person earlier this evening who said that she was expected to be here, but so far we have not seen her. But I caught up with her earlier this afternoon as she was visiting some polling places in Tempe, and she was really trying to set herself apart from incumbent and Democrat Kyrsten Sinema throughout this entire thing, really touting her military experience, her deep roots here in Arizona, as well as the fact that she is a longtime business owner. Her and her husband own a business here in Arizona, and they've had that for a long time. She was using all of that to kind of garner votes in her favor, but as you heard Jill say just a few minutes ago, not seeming to be working this evening, as she is trailing by quite a few votes here this evening. We, of course, will continue to monitor this. If we hear from Wendy Rogers when she shows up here, we, of course, will try and grab a quick soundbite with her and see how she's feeling here this evening. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Ty. I want to share with you that the balance of power in the U.S. Senate has shifted tonight for the first time in 8 years. Republicans now have the numbers they need to take control. Right now, Republicans have 52 in the U.S. Senate, and Democrats have 44. So that's where we're at right now. And there's still other seats on the table, but big pickups by Republicans tonight in Arkansas, Colorado, Montana, South Dakota, West Virginia, Kansas. They have all gone Republican. Big night for Republicans, and this presents tremendous challenges to the Obama administration, but opens the door for potential end to gridlock, as you've got the president on one side, a Republican-controlled Congress and Senate on the other. If they want to get anything done, they're going to have to work together. No more blocking in the Senate. They will have to start to craft some legislation, and the White House has already made noises. Joe Biden saying, we're ready to compromise. So we may see a break in gridlock. Stay tuned. I know it's a tall order, but it's possible, Carrie. All
right, John. Yeah, it's going to be hard to say we can't work with the president if you're in control of the U.S. Senate now and in control of the House as well. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more coverage. We're still waiting for Governor-elect Doug Ducey to make his victory speech. That should be coming our way soon. And as we take you out, we'll take a look here. We've got, it looks like the Republicans have won the 2 seats that are available on the Corporation Commission. We'll take you out with some more numbers, and we'll be back in just a minute. Begin with some numbers with Secretary of State, and this is a race that Terry Goddard, a former AG, was hoping to win. This is a top election officer. Michelle Reagan, the Republican who was endorsed by Governor Jan Brewer, is ahead by 4 points here. And of course, you got to ask when you're voting on this particular office, who can assume the office of governor? Because we've seen so many times 4 of our last 9 governors got the job by moving up from the Secretary of State's office.
Yeah.
So right now, Terry Goddard is behind by 4 points. Of course, we're looking at more than half the votes counted right now, and it's looking like Michelle Reagan could pull ahead and take the lead.
Arizona is one of 7 states that do not have a lieutenant governor. So this is your lieutenant governor, your governor in waiting, essentially. Let's go in to check in with Mia Garcia, who's at the Hyatt downtown, Hyatt Regency. She's been following the Michelle Reagan campaign. A good night for Republicans, and you wonder if some of that drafted Michelle Reagan, because certainly voters know Terry Goddard more than they know Michelle Reagan, but it seemed to matter not tonight.
Absolutely, but you know, she still says this is a tight race, and from the beginning she told us she thought this was going to be very close. So right now she is still upstairs, she's with her friends and family, and she is carefully watching the results roll in. We caught up with her early when she arrived here at the Hyatt. Listen to what she had to say.
Obviously, this is at 17 months of hard work. All comes down to, over and polls close in just about 2 minutes. So, but I'm thrilled. I'm excited. It's over and it's here, and gonna wait for the results to come in and be with my friends and family, and huge gathering tonight. So,
Tell me what you've been doing all day.
oh boy, we've been up over 24 hours. My team, and we were out at the polling places. I was working with the Republican Lawyers Association earlier today. Had a team meeting at 11:30. I mean, we just nonstop.
You think it's going to be close?
I think it will be close. Yes, I had a very worthy opponent, so absolutely.
But ultimately,
well, obviously, ultimately, I hope that we pull it out, and I hope to be the next Secretary of State of Arizona.
Okay. Hi. Now, earlier we also caught up with Governor Jan Brewer, and she has come out and endorsed Michelle Reagan for Secretary of State. Take a listen to what Jan Brewer had to say.
I'm a big fan of Michelle Reagan. I think she's absolutely the most qualified candidate for Secretary of State in this race. And I did not hesitate to step up because I know how important that office is, acting as quasi-lieutenant governor. And I think that as you go into that office, you rise to the occasion. And then if you're called upon to become governor, you rise to that occasion. You know, the person that's running against her, Mr. Goddard, has ran for governor 4 times and has lost. And the people don't want him. They don't like what he stands for.
Wow.
You know, she might be onto something. I mean, obviously there's a little bad blood there. But I wonder if there's an element of voter fatigue with Terry Goddard.
No,
We've seen
I
him
agree.
on the ballot so many times.
I talked to him about it a few months ago.
And he's a smart guy. He's definitely
Very
qualified
capable
for the role. But tonight, with a name like Reagan, Michelle Reagan, the Republican very well. Looks like she right now is moving her way towards a victory. Has not been called yet.
This is tough for tough night for Democrats in Arizona because they really felt they fielded a very strong group. Let's go to Troy Hayden, who's at the Hyatt Regency, anchoring our coverage there. Troy, what's the story?
We're waiting for him to get his microphone worked out there. I can't help but wonder, remember on primary night, if you were watching primary night, Doug Ducey is very organized about how he does things. Remember, the governor came out, she introduced him before 10 o'clock, and he was going to go on live right at 10 o'clock. Right, and I know Troy has been following Doug Ducey around. He's probably got this thing planned where he's coming out, Troy, at just the right time to do his victory speech.
Well, we're still having trouble with Troy's mic. Quick point with all of this. This is interesting for Doug Ducey because I talked to Fife Symington, who was the last man elected governor in Arizona back in 1990. And it was interesting. Symington said, he goes, I don't mean this egotistically, but I see a lot of me in Ducey in terms of how the campaign is unfolding. He felt Ducey was very disciplined, ran a good campaign, and got better as time went along. Fife Symington had an arc where he got better, more comfortable in the role. That happened to Doug Ducey. He built an arc in this campaign, got every conceivable endorsement a Republican can get, and then some, and basically said, look, I'm the guy. That's it. He almost made it inevitability right there for the
both of them
governor
are
race.
businessmen too, and it's going to take a really sharp mind to get through the budget mess we're in. $1.5 billion in the hole. I don't think he may get into this job and go, "What have I done?" Because it's going to be a difficult hole to dig out of.
It's the Chinese proverb: "Be careful what you wish for, because you might get it." And now he's got it, and it's going to be tough sledding. It's going to get harder from here.
We just saw Troy out there in the scrum, kind of, and I think he was with maybe some of the family members of Doug Ducey. But
let's check in with Jessica Flores. She's with the Rodolini campaign, and again, this is about a 6 percentage point lead for Brnovich. What are they saying there, Jess? Very quiet behind you, by the way.
Yeah, it is very quiet at this hour, John. Rodolini is expected to take the stage any moment now, and we caught up with her campaign and her outside of her hotel room, where her campaign right now, they're studying these results, and they say they're still hopeful because they do believe that Pima County will pull through for them, and they're hopeful that that will take them to a win. Take a listen.
Well, it's too early. It's only about a third of the precincts. We don't know what Pima is going to bring in yet, and the rest of the county, so we're very optimistic.
Now, remember, this is the second time Felicia Rodolini that she's going for this Attorney General position.
Re-election.
Oh, whoa.
We're just discussing all of the things. I was just talking about Felicia Rodolini last time around, losing narrowly to Tom Horn in a year where a lot of Democrats came out and voted, and she lost narrowly. This time around, there are fewer Democrats voting.
Right, but that was 2010. That was also a midterm. It wasn't a general election, and she did very well. But again, you get in these midterms for Democrats in Arizona right now, and people have talked about the state turning purple, and it is, and it will eventually, but right now...
tonight it seems to be very red.
Very red. Yes, blood red.
We're going to take a look. Your new governor-elect, Doug Ducey, winning 54% of the vote. That is the big news tonight. We have some other winners. We're going to take a look at some of the numbers as we take a quick break. We're awaiting Governor-elect Doug Ducey's victory speech.
Okay, a couple of storylines. I think we got to look at the national races that are up for grabs. The other storyline is the Secretary of Education, Superintendent of Public Instruction. Those are, to me, are the big storylines.
Let's do this one.
Okay.
Diane Douglas and David Garcia. Are we not going to do this?
Yeah, we're going to do congressional, and we're going to do
this
that.
Is a big race because this affects a lot of people.
Hopefully we can get into superintendent, because that's the race that's still hanging. We should do congressional as well, the contested congressional.
We can pull up these races, but I think we should use this thing.
Okay, contested.
Are we going to do this?
We're doing 1, 2, and 9 here, Ivan?
Yeah.
Stand by. Welcome back, You Decide. In a night that has really gone Republican in the statewide races, it's a complete reversal on the congressional side. Let's start with District 1. Ann Kirkpatrick, so far she is holding out, the Democrat, in this race. The Dems are holding in these races that are contested, battleground House races in Arizona, and there are 3 of them, Districts 1, 2, and 9.
She's got a 2-point lead with 39% of the precincts returning the votes right now, so this could tighten up. We're not sure where that's going to go. U.S. House District 2, Ron Barber is holding the incumbent. He's a moderate Democrat. This is Gabby Gifford's old district, and he is holding his lead. It's actually widening just a bit against Martha McSally. Now, the GOP spent a lot of money trying to get McSally to win in this district, and it apparently has not worked.
Kyrsten Sinema looks to be cruising to victory. I realize it's a little early, but you're getting 89% of the precincts now reporting. This looks like Sinema's got this locked up for a second term. So, a little note here. While the statewide races are going Republican, you're seeing the congressional holding with 5 Democrats, 4 Republicans. Governor Jan Brewer right now.
Because this evening, the next 4 years belongs to Governor-elect Doug Ducey. Let's also celebrate the good news for the other candidates. Michelle Reagan, Secretary of State. Brnovich, Attorney General. Jeff DeWitt, our new treasurer. Diane Douglas, our new Superintendent of Public Instruction. Joe Hart, our mine inspector. Tom Farisi and Doug Little, our new corporation commissioners. And we're still waiting for Yavapai, Mojave, Cochise County to come in, strongholds for us Republicans. During the campaign, Doug was gracious to give credit to the work we've done to steer Arizona through some of the most difficult economic times in our history. And enormous challenges are still ahead. But Doug Ducey will bring calm and principled leadership to get the job done. And he will keep the Arizona comeback on the path. Now is the time for electioneering to give way to governing. Thank you all so very much for allowing me to serve as your governor. It has been the highest honor of my life, and your support has meant so very much. Now, I'm asking that all Arizonans come together. And now I'm asking all Arizonans to come together in the spirit of unity and support for our new governor. So, my fellow Arizonans, we will, in a few moments, welcome to the stage Arizona's next governor, Doug Ducey, his wife Angela, and the whole Ducey family. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Governor Brewer told me once that she could have never imagined this happening to her, becoming governor of Arizona, when she really wanted to run for school board in Glendale. This is back in the 80s. And she said, you know, if I'm really going to make a change, I need to get in the legislature. That's where all the money is to try to fix education. That's what she did, and she rose through the ranks. She never lost an election. People underestimated her repeatedly, and she ends up as a governor of the state of Arizona and wins the re-election.
A popular national figure as well with many. And you know, she endorsed Scott Smith in the primary.
That's right.
And then, as a good Republican in Arizona would do, she stepped right behind Doug Ducey and campaigned for him as well. And you know, she made a point there, a point that she probably didn't even have to make when you're looking at some of these results. And she just kind of listed off the Republicans that won tonight. And the Democrats across the state have been taking a beating. And she's the lead Republican tonight. And she's taking a little bit of credit for that.
You know, a flip when you get to these House races, where in District 1, 2, and 9, the battlegrounds in Arizona, they're all holding Democrat. And as I pointed out, Democrats, despite a state that's supposedly still red, as we see tonight, Democrats, in terms of representation in Congress, they have a 5-4 edge, Democrats to Republicans. So it's kind of an interesting flip when you look at some of this.
And I just noticed Kyrsten Sinema, we showed the numbers there a bit ago, 95% of the precincts winning. She has not been declared the winner, but it's looking very good for Kyrsten Sinema, the incumbent.
Going to win that race.
Here's an interesting one. The superintendent of public instruction.
That number has moved. Garcia now ahead of Douglas.
I want to take you over and take a look at some of the specifics on this one. Of course, this is so important. This is the person who will decide what your kids learn in school. So it affects anybody who's a parent out there, obviously, and to an extent affects our future in Arizona when it comes to education. And Diane Douglas, a former Peoria school board member, was really opposed to Common Core. She ran on that. She did not do a lot of public appearances. David Garcia had a lot of endorsements in groups. So the fact that this was so much tighter earlier in the night probably had David Garcia very concerned, but it is spreading out a little bit here. He's got 54% of the vote. And if we take a look here,
he was behind for much of the night and now suddenly has surged ahead by a big margin.
Well, let's take a look and see. Let's take a look and see where his votes are. So we've got Diane Douglas, Republican, David Garcia, and let's take you to Maricopa County here. And we've got 87% of the precincts coming in right now. And you can see in Maricopa County, Diane Douglas won the vote, or is winning the vote, but just narrowly here. Now let's take you up a little bit further north to Yavapai County, 82% of the precincts. This brings her lead a little bit higher.
Go down to Pima County
Let's
for a
go
second.
down to the south, Pima County. Now, this is a blue county. This one has gone so far towards David Garcia. You see his number go up a bit and Diane Douglas's number. If we go north to Coconino County, and again, this is a county going blue. David Garcia's got the lead now, and as we start to add in Navajo County, that went for Diane Douglas so far. Apache County is going towards David Garcia, and as we kind of move through Gila County, that's a red county, and we're also looking at Pinal County as being red, Graham, Greenlee, and Cochise. And down in Santa Cruz, we've got another blue county, which is helping bring his number up. Now, then we go to the western edge of our state, and here's Mojave County, La Paz, and Yuma County. And on this map, it's showing obviously that Diane Douglas has a little bit of a lead, but we saw some of the most recent numbers coming through, and his lead has actually grown.
Let's show that number if we can again for Superintendent of Public Instruction, just to give you, because again, that's this may be trailing that map that we just showed you. And Garcia, who was behind Douglas by about 2 percentage points for much of the night, now has flipped and he's got about an 8 percentage point lead. How that happened, I don't know. I don't believe it's a mistake, but let's take a look at the number. Look at that.
True, and we're looking at right now on this map, according to the map, he did very well, obviously, down in Tucson, up in Flagstaff, but somewhere along the way, we've gotten a lot of votes coming in towards Garcia. Doug Ducey, our governor-elect, is about to take the stage. He's got his 3 sons there on the stage with him, his wife, Angela, and Jack, Joe, and Sam, his kids, have joined him on the stage. And he's about to give his victory speech. Here he is.
It was a very disciplined campaign, Kerry, that Doug Ducey ran. It was textbook. He never got off a message. He was just very, very disciplined. One of the most disciplined campaigns in memory here in Arizona.
And we're going to need that discipline to, get the state on the right track.
This is Doug Ducey tonight, downtown Republican headquarters at the Hyatt Regency. The 23rd governor who will become in January of the great state of Arizona.
Boy, he knows how to time these things right about the top of the hour, doesn't he? He's just absorbing the moment here.
I love you, Stephen. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. How about Exhibit A of my good decision-making ability, Angela Ducey? I want to say to all of you, thank you very much, and thank you, Arizona. I'm grateful for the privilege you have given me, for the trust you have placed in me, and I pledge my best efforts as the governor of this great state. It was a long way to the finish line, and I am proud of the race we have run. When things got tough, we hung in there, we kept our focus, and we kept the faith. We listened and we learned. We spread our message of opportunity, and we built a broad coalition, and tonight we have turned it into a winning coalition. I want to send a message to those watching tonight. Whether you voted for me or you voted for someone else, I intend to be governor of all and to work to create opportunities for every single Arizonan. When you run for office, you've got to be prepared for either outcome. And you learn to respect others that step up and put their name on a ballot. For me, that respect came easy because my opponent was a good man named Fred DuVal. I thank Fred for his gracious phone call tonight, and Angela and I wish Fred and Jennifer only the best. It was my name on the signs and on the ballot. I sure didn't do this alone. It was the work of so many volunteers in every county of our state, of leaders who spoke out on my behalf, and the finest campaign team a guy could have. To everyone that got involved, I hope I can repay your confidence in these coming years. And all I can say tonight is thank you for all you've done. Above all this evening, I am grateful to my family and friends, many that are joining me tonight from the Midwest. They said they wanted to be here, win or lose. It's a wonderful thing to share this moment with all of them, especially my brother Nick. I send love to my sister Christy, my mom and dad, and my parents, and my 90-year-old grandmother is here tonight. I haven't seen my folks looking so happy since I married Angela, my wife, who I met at ASU. And from, go Devils! And from that day to this, my life has been better from having shared it with her. She's a great mom to our 3 sons, Jack, Joe, and Sam, and the best thing I've got going for me. So tonight, I want to say to Angela and the boys, I love you and thank you.
Guys, that's the Eagle Scout coming out of Doug Ducey. He's a former Eagle Scout, and that was very nicely done.
He did a similar thing when he won in the primary. He said whether you voted for me or my opponents, and he had a lot of them in the primary. That was a really nice thing to say. Let's listen in a little more.
If you caught any of my campaign speeches, maybe you remember the part about my high school counselor. He took a map, put his finger on Tempe, and said, "Go there, to Arizona. That's where you'll find opportunity." So I packed up my Datsun B210 and headed west. The man was right. Arizona is a place of opportunity. And I have made this commitment to the people of our state. I will strive every day to make Arizona a place of opportunity for all. I will do that by pursuing goals that are simple to state. More than ever before, we must encourage economic growth, startup businesses, and good, full-time jobs. Tonight, the message goes out to entrepreneurs and investors across America. If you're looking to build, relocate, or add jobs, then Arizona will be the place for you. Nothing hinders opportunity in a state like high taxes and reckless spending, and that's a business we won't be in these next 4 years. We will limit the growth of government by limiting the spending of government. We won't pay our bills with borrowed money, and if anyone needs to cut back, it will be the government and not the hard-working taxpayers of Arizona. In education, opportunity depends on reform. Reform depends on fairness, and fairness depends on leadership. A system that offers opportunity for some, or a classroom, or a waiting list for everyone else, is a fair system. Schools and choices available to some parents should be open to all parents, whatever their means, wherever they live, and that will be my administration's definition of leadership. I can tell you this, as governor, I will focus dollars on teachers teaching and students learning, and never accept that there are losers in our classroom. Every child can learn, and should receive a quality education, and that's exactly what we're going to do. For those of you that know me, you understand I'm focused on people and policies and outcomes that will result in a better quality of life, results that will lead more people and better opportunity for all. Results that pave a way for a better life for our children and our children's children. Together, these results will lead to the recovery we have all longed for. So to those of you out there tonight who have been hanging on, waiting not for a handout, but for a hand up, waiting for a chance to get your child a better education, hoping for a job that will turn into a fulfilling career, I can tell you tonight, hang on a little longer. Help is on the way. In every way I know, I will work as your governor to make our state a more just, compassionate, and welcoming place. And we'll stay true to Arizona's independent streak so we can find our own way, free of mandates and commands from Washington, D.C. Things go a lot better in our state when we work matters out among ourselves, irrespective of political party, as free men and women, as Arizonans were meant to do. Whatever lies ahead, Arizona's people will decide Arizona's future. In that spirit, starting tonight, the work begins. I will serve as governor of all the people, just as I ran for governor, reaching out and bringing people together. I will do all that I can to bring credit to our state and to be worthy of your confidence. My fellow Arizonans, I will give the job all that is in me, and I will work every day to make you proud. God bless you, and may God bless this gathering and the liberty that makes it possible. Thank you. Thank you.
Doug Ducey, sworn in January as the 23rd governor of Arizona. That's the wish. He just laid it out. That is the wish for how he wants to govern, pretty much like he would be in a boardroom or running it like a business. It's a little bit tougher, as Fife Symington will tell you. As he told me, you can never be prepared for what this office throws at you. There's a steep, steep learning curve. It will, especially with the budget hole that we're in, $1.5 billion in the red. Thing to work through. And you talked about making cuts, government cuts, spending cuts. But tough. I thought what was interesting is that he sounds like he wants to bring all Arizonans together. Right. We're in this together, no matter who you voted for. Said some nice things about Fred DuVal. Toledo, Ohio came streaming through in that speech. You could hear it in his voice, and the old hockey player from Toledo. We're going to take a break here. Our coverage on You Decide continues tonight on this election night 2014. Back
and a call out to the Sun Devils.
Right? Love that.
Been a big night, especially for Republicans across the state. We just heard the victory speech of our new governor-elect Doug Ducey.
Let's check in with Troy Hayden, who's live at the Hyatt downtown Phoenix with the Republicans. Doug Ducey, a big speech there. He laid it out. It's all sweetness and light tonight, but the job is going to be very tough in this budgetary environment.
It is, and he wants to be governor of all the people. He said that a couple of different times. Loves telling the story about how he got in his Datsun B210 with everything he owns and came out here to Arizona. I don't know if we can see him. He just made his way down. There's a small receiving line. He's shaking some hands and talking to some people. A lot of energy in this room when he was announced winning as governor. Another huge cheer every time that somebody from the Senate, the U.S. Senate, got elected as Republicans. A good night tonight, all in all, as a Republican. I talked to Ducey last night. I was on his campaign bus for a short trip to his very last campaign event, and I said, well, how you doing? And he looked at me and said, I'm ready to vote. He was done. Started back in July of 2013, so a very crowded primary came out of that, and tonight he is Arizona's governor-elect, John and Carrie.
Okay, Troy, thanks. The one race right now that's hanging out there, and we need to show it, the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Garcia had that bump where he jumped out to the lead a few minutes ago. That was a bad number. This has been the trend that's been holding all night long with Diane Douglas, a Republican, leading Garcia by 2 percentage points. So that was a bad number we had for you earlier.
And you heard Governor Brewer when she was on the stage before Doug Ducey talking about some of the victories tonight, and she went ahead and declared Diane Douglas the winner. That has not been declared by the AP yet, but she certainly has had a lead pretty much all night.
Right, we're getting our numbers from Associated Press. They call it, when they call it, we call it. So that's how it's looking right now.
Here we go. This is a live picture of Doug Ducey working the crowd. And you know, he talked about all the people. He said, I didn't make this happen alone. He had an amazingly run campaign from the very beginning. People probably at the very early stages in the primary thought, well, he may have a chance to win.
Right.
But he just continued to plug away with his eye on the prize. And he knocked down all of his opponents in the primary and then immediately got to work in the general. Before even an ad could air for Fred DuVal, Ducey had an ad out pretty much defining him.
A very good strategy. And again, he almost seemed, let's listen.
Oh, we've got Ty Brennan over there.
For opportunity for all, be governor of all the people. We're excited for what's ahead. Thank you.
It's Ty Brennan.
Talking to Ty Brennan.
You know, we should say, 4 years ago, when he ran for state treasurer, everybody said, well, this Ducey guy doesn't want to just be state treasurer. He wants to be governor. And that was very clear. Used to talk to him about it on Newsmaker Sunday and say, what's the master plan here?
Where are you going
we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm interested in being treasurer, but you knew he had designs on higher office. This was a goal, and he reached it tonight.
An ambitious guy. He started with one ice cream shop, and it went nationwide.
Right.
His franchise.
He's had a track record of success.
Well, and hopefully some of that business success he can then translate and help get us out of the hole that we're in as a state with our budget. We're going to take a quick break. We just heard from the governor. We saw him work in the crowd there. This is Proposition 487, pension reform in Phoenix, rather.
Goes down hard
tonight. This is going down by 10 points.
We'll show you a few more prompts and we'll take a break. Take a look at what's happening with the propositions tonight.
It's been a big night, but we still have a few races that are not decided. And let's show you one that was a little bit close tonight. Secretary of State Michelle Reagan has pulled ahead a little bit more with her lead. 52% of the vote. She was endorsed by Governor Jan Brewer. Terry Goddard, of course, has run for office many times before, and tonight has to be feeling pretty down about these numbers.
3 runs for governor. Let's check out. Now we've got Michelle Reagan downtown right now. This is at the Hyatt Regency.
A Republican. And what an honor it is to be a part of the great Republican ticket that we had. We are going to sweep the state. I can feel it. And you know, when I won the primary, I made all of you a promise. And that promise was that I was going to make you proud. And I am so proud to be standing up here tonight with my family and to be standing in front of amazing volunteers. I have never been so proud to be a Republican. Thank you to our Governor Brewer. Thank you to our soon-to-be Governor Ducey. What an amazing job he has done. I am confident that we are going to bring this home. This is a Republican night, a Republican
Michelle Reagan, by the way, started her political career in Scottsdale. Troy's got Brnovich. She was a representative and then a state senator, and now Troy.
Let's go to Mark Brnovich and Troy Heyman.
Mark Brnovich, Attorney General, new Attorney General-elect. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Troy. Thank you. Thank the voters of Arizona.
And you have a couple of assistants here.
I do. This is my daughter, Sophia, and this is my oldest daughter, Milena.
What do you think about your dad giving this big win?
It's really exciting. I'm really proud.
Were you into this whole time? You proud of your dad?
Yes. I am so proud.
Daughters are great.
Oh, they're amazing. And one of the worst things about running for office is that I had never missed any of their games or activities, and being on the road a lot, it was hard. And so, I promised them after the primary we're going to Disneyland, which we did go to. So now I'm going to have to take it up a notch after the general election. So
how are you going to top that?
I don't know, but this is why we do this, isn't it? We want to leave this. I'm so fortunate to have grown up here in Arizona. We want to leave this a better place. We want to have safer communities, safer neighborhoods, and that's why I did this, Troy. And so, it's a legacy. Hopefully the others can carry on at some point too.
Number one priority, first day in office, what are you tackling?
Well, we need to make sure we're doing everything we can to keep our families safe, and I think that means getting all of law enforcement together to go after those that prey on the most vulnerable, whether that's our kids, making sure those cases are investigated and prosecuted, or our elderly. If you're a scammer or you're taking advantage of people, senior citizens, we're going to get you. We're going to convict you, no matter who you are or where you're at.
Has Felicia Rodolini called you yet?
She has not.
Okay. Does that surprise you?
Politics is a funny business. Nothing surprises me.
Congratulations, Mark Brnovich.
Thank you very much, man.
All right. And your lovely daughter. So nice meeting both of you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you all.
How was that? That was a nice moment. Isn't that great? Daughters are fun.
He always injects a little humor. I noticed that last time around, Troy.
He does. There's a little bit of, it's a nicer version, and I don't want to cast aspersions here, but it's a nicer kind of good-hearted version of Chris Christie in a way. A lot of plain talk out of Mark Brnovich.
I thought you were going to say Chris Farley, and then that was going to worry me.
He just he goes off the cuff. I get the feeling he's not very scripted, which is nice.
He's got a big job ahead. Tom Horn has left an office that's really in disarray, a low morale, and I think there's going to be some restructuring that needs to be done in there.
There will be.
So a lot of work for Mark Brnovich.
We're going to take a break here.
He's in the lead.
Let's leave you with some more numbers here. Doug Ducey, your next governor, the governor-elect of Arizona tonight with a comfortable margin, 13 percentage points over Democrat Fred DuVal.
Oh, I know he did.
U.S. Congressional District 9 and Kyrsten Sinema, the moderate Democrat incumbent, has been declared the winner.
Still getting used to that one. Jill Monier is live with Kyrsten Sinema. She wins second time in that district. Jill.
Hey guys, we're joined now by Kyrsten Sinema. Just walked into the Renaissance Ballroom here. How are you feeling right now? You were leading by about 12%.
Well, I was just really, really pleased to see that the voters in our district have chosen to send me back to fight for them for 2 more years. We have so much more work to do, fighting for veterans, standing up for Arizona businesses and families. I just feel privileged and honored to be able to continue the work.
There are a lot of Democrats that lost tonight, a lot of others that were battling for their lives and still are. What do you attribute to your lead here tonight?
You know, when I ran in 2012, I promised that when elected, I wouldn't just represent Democrats. I would represent Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And I think over the last 2 years, I've done that. So we were lucky to be supported by folks across the political spectrum because we're focused on results, not partisanship.
And what's next for your party?
You know, I can only speak for what's next for our team. And I can tell you, I'm going to go back to Washington next Tuesday. I'm going to fight to reform the VA system to protect veterans, fight to grow jobs here in Arizona, and stand up for Arizona families.
Okay, Kyrsten Sinema, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, Kyrsten Sinema leading Wendy Rogers by about 12% of the vote tonight. We're live from the Renaissance in downtown Phoenix, guys.
All right, Jill, it's we should note there have been a lot of people who have thought when John McCain comes up again, that Kyrsten Sinema may very well run for that seat for U.S. Senate. That would probably be the eye of the prize that she has right now. That's what she wants.
And tonight she's one of the bright spots in the Democratic Party, winning in a night that was very good for Republicans. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, You Decide.
Been a busy night. Lots of races decided tonight, and the Republicans had a very good night. We're going to roll through some of the numbers right now. U.S. House District 1, Ann Kirkpatrick has widened her lead here, but again, only 54% of the precincts reported, and that one has still not been called.
So District 1 was a battleground. Looks to go to a Democrat. Ron Barber, 4 percentage point lead over Martha McSally in southern Arizona. This is parts of eastern Tucson and Cochise County. That is also holding Democrat tonight.
And the GOP poured a lot of money into that. Only 26% of the precincts reporting, so we still don't have the final numbers on that. Raul Grijalva, the incumbent down in District 3, has won handily tonight, and he's been declared the winner.
Let's check in District 4. And again, these are some of the races where it really isn't a race. Paul Gosar over Michael Weiser tonight easily.
And District 5 seeking a fifth non-consecutive term, Matt Salmon winning the Republican over in District 5.
James Woods, blinded by a MRSA infection right before his 27th birthday, was a challenger there. Said he had a lot of time to think about running. 6th District, parts of Maricopa County, mostly the southeastern suburbs. David Schweikert now. This is a guy who's going to be very tough to beat in a very safe district. That's his 3rd term now.
And a young Marine, a young next-generation Democrat, Ruben Gallego, freshman representative from District 7, will be representing Central Phoenix after Ed Pastor retires after 24 years.
The most reliable vote for Democrats in Arizona in terms of Congress would be Raul Grijalva. For the Republicans, it would be Trent Franks. He's the most conservative, one of the most conservative members of Congress, but wins easily, again, in a safe, gerrymandered district.
And we look at CD9, and we just talked about Kyrsten Sinema, the incumbent, winning her re-election bid against Wendy Rogers, the Republican. 54% of the vote tonight. She's been declared the winner.
Carrie, if this holds, all the Democrats held court tonight who were challenged in those contested races 1, 2, and 9. And that means that the Democrats would have 5 seats in Arizona, Republicans 4, even though it's a big night statewide as you're looking at this for Republicans.
Michelle Reagan right now still ahead of Terry Goddard as they battle it out for Secretary of State, but I'm getting the feeling she thinks she's won it after hearing her speech earlier tonight.
Brnovich declared the winner. He will be your next Attorney General, replacing Tom Horne, who really exited in disgrace. Brnovich beat him in the primary rather easily. Rodolini, her 2nd attempt at the office, it did not go well for her.
And Brnovich really gave Republicans someone to vote for. With Tom Horne, I don't think they felt they had someone they could vote for and feel good about.
Tightest race of the night.
Look at this, Diane Douglas. She was a Peoria school board member and a mom, and that was her credential. She was against Common Core, and it looks like she may go on to win this. She has had the lead pretty much all night.
Then the people who set your utility rates, there are 2 seats up for grabs on that 5-member board that set your utility rates, and it's the 2 Republicans, Little and Faris, who are winning. It was kind of utility versus solar. The Democrats, 2 Democrats favored solar. They are losing and have lost tonight.
And 487 to take our city pensions to 401ks for future city workers. That has gone down in defeat. 480, the Maricopa County Health rebuilding that, basically spending close to $1 billion to rebuild Maricopa Medical, has passed tonight.
This is fascinating. Prop 122. This is state sticking its finger in the eye of the feds, and 51% saying we don't want federal intervention in some of these. There's your governor, Doug Ducey.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Of course, stay with us on Fox 10 News in the morning with the morning crew for much more. Doug Ducey, our new governor-elect.